Hello and welcome. This is part two for those of you who were listening to the conversation on self and community and compatibility. This part two dives into a little bit of a other concepts a bit more deeply. I may throw a few of my musings in, I may not. I'll see how the conversation flows. So I wound down in the other video talking about continuous improvement. In 2019, that hit me as if it is huge just how much of our world has jumped into, well, I have to improve this and I have to fix this and da 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 da. And somehow we've lost sight of the value of being. It is not that we don't have things that we want to enhance or work on or improve on, but there are things that are already good, things that we forgot to celebrate, things that are fine just the way they are. There's also an element of self-acceptance that says, yes, I'm falling short in these areas, but I love myself despite all of that. When you can give yourself that kind of grace and compassion, you can extend it to others as well, because you know what it feels like. You can't give anything that you do not have. We hear these things and we parrot them, but then we jump up in the same breath and say things like individuality is destroying community. It can't if it is healthy. If it is about me making society pay back for all the things that I didn't get or the needs I didn't have met, that's not individuality. That is toxic trauma overflowing into society from the unhealed self. Individuality, the healthy individual, is learning and growing and discovering the self so that that is all that can overflow from it. When all you have inside is love, that is all that can come out. Mind you, don't lose sight of the fact that love comes with boundaries, especially when you're human. I believe in the spirit realm and in other energy realms and dimensions as well. But as a human being, enjoying the human experience, I have to say, if we didn't have boundaries, we'd be in a lot of trouble. And boundaries come with the emotions that help us to protect it, like frustration and hurt and anger. And all of those are important and valuable as well. Not the conversation for today, but important. And part of having those boundaries is recognizing who can align with those boundaries, who cannot help across those boundaries, and who we cannot engage with because we can't honor theirs or we keep crossing theirs without realizing it. And there is where compatibility comes in. But letting go of continuous improvement in order to celebrate yourself. Letting go so that you could get to a place of saying, let me celebrate what I'm good at, work with what I'm good at, and hire or outsource or release for a bit what I'm not. So that you can really just have a bit of time to enjoy. Because joy, your brain works on the reward responsibility. If you are always in the responsibility and the obligation mode, there is no time for just being. And obligation is dangerous because it very much almost always comes from outside. As a parent, there's an obligation that's born from within, and that is a very different sensation. There's an energy that comes with it to do what you need to do. The obligations from outside are depleting and draining and damaging beyond anything that you can explain. And for those of us in the feminine who thrive best in feminine energy, the burnout and the anxiety is debilitating. It's a physical attack on your body, on your chemistry, on all of your being. Continuous improvement is a wonderful idea when it has its place. I talk about this when I talk about the comfort zone and the importance of the comfort zone as well. But that goes hand in hand in destroying the self and saying that that is what's best for society. We create mental health crises and all of these other things that benefit certain industries, but do not benefit the actual community, not in the long term. So when the self is whole, when you take the time, and I always say take the time, take up space. And I say this as somebody who's learning this on this journey and seeing the value of it as I learn. Take the time, take up space, slow down enough to hear yourself. And as you hear yourself, the noise of all the things that you've been taught that are not yours will start to come up, and it will go. If you give it time and space, it will go. And then your values come up and you wonder where these were all the time. But you have to take the time and space to allow for them to come back, and you will find them there. And you will find them supporting you in understanding your values and your beliefs, yours, not what you've been taught. And you will find that they are quite individual. So you will not belong if you're looking for a community that's saying you have to be like us. If you're looking for a community that has a value set that says you are allowed to completely be you, I'm allowed to completely be me, and we will always interact and engage naturally where we align. And where we don't, that's not where we will engage, and that is okay. And there's a flow and a natural magic to allowing yourself to feel good versus allowing yourself to only live in obligation. We've taught that feeling good is bad. And then we wonder why we have health crises in every area. Feeling good is good. Feeling good is good because it eventually washes away what is toxic. It heals the trauma. It moves that stuck energy. Everything starts to flow, but it starts from feeling good. And when you feel good, you begin to want to share that. And the self, the healthy self, can only ever overflow into a healthy community, because then what you contribute, and we tend to think of contribution as a thing that's measurable, but energy is contribution. If you can do nothing but smile, if nothing else works on you and all you can do is smile and bring that love energy, that energy does way more than you can ever imagine. Because yes, you can pick up an axe and cut things to make a house for somebody else, but you alone will take a much longer time to build that house. But if you are happy and you are energized and that energy is contagious, you can energize a whole group of people to say, oh my gosh, now I have the energy. I would be happy to help you build that house. People who are, of course, already their rhythms and their natural cycles are already aligned with building that. It is far easier than we think. We keep creating fights where there are none. We don't have to. There are people out there already who exist and want to do what you're doing. If you cultivate love within yourself, you get more energy yourself to do the things you want to do. And then you start attracting people of like mind who are on the same page. And you can achieve these things. And it may seem like you are in opposition to everybody else, but as you heal, healing is also contagious, and far more so than toxicity. We've just lived in toxicity for so long that we can't recognize wholeness, but it is there. And if you give it time, it will show up. But don't let anybody trick you into thinking that a healed self, that self is the enemy, that individuality is the enemy of a healed and whole global society. Conformity and rules and everything looking this way is what we're trained to not be afraid of. Somebody told us that anarchy will arise if everybody's allowed to be themselves. And it is the very same people who told us that created the toxicity that has manufactured all of the trauma that will create the anarchy we are afraid of. But if you allow yourself to heal in love, that will overflow as love to everyone else. I have seen it. Just give it a try. Stop attacking the individuals. If they want to go off on their own, give them that time. They need it. Heal, discover yourself, know yourself. Be true to that. Love that. And from there, everything else will go well. My name is Crystal Marie Seeley. And again, this is Conversations with Crystal Marie. I'd like to invite you again to follow me if you're on any of the channels that I'm on. I'm not everywhere, mostly Patreon, YouTube, and Instagram, and sometimes LinkedIn. And I hope that this has landed with you in a way that makes you feel inspired and energized and free to be exactly who you are. Have an amazing day. Bye.